I got involved in the unionizing efforts in the first place early on, either in 2007 or 2008, because we needed collective bargaining at the university. I'm non-tenure track faculty. I arrived here exactly 25 years ago, January of 1991, and I learned then, early on, that there had been an attempt some years before to organize non-tenure track faculty, the instructors, that had been, as I was told, quite rather ferociously smashed by the administration. So that was a sobering background, and it seemed unlikely that there would be a unionizing, a successful union movement here, because the faculty culture seemed quite, not just not open to it, but opposed to it. When a group of faculty started meeting to talk about unionizing, I was really interested, and I look forward to hearing other people's perspectives on what happened that led up to that. But I knew, I mean, first of all, I'm from a family where if there's a union, you join it. I saw that the state of Oregon and its University of Oregon were both rather oligarchical, and that the centers of power and decision making really operated behind closed doors. That had been true for a long time, and that it worked to hold back many of the stated, goals of the university, the mission of the university for research and teaching. So I was wondering how it would go, and really happy to get involved. I thought that we could work together better, and there was a strong whatever you want to call it, culture, practice here of, on the one hand, real decisions made behind closed doors after years of really hard work by appointed faculty committees that would take on whatever issue, work, study the situation, come up with suggestions, and then be ignored, on the one hand. And on the other hand, individual faculty members going to their department heads, not chairs, but appointed heads, and cutting deals for themselves. And that was how people carved out their particular positions. And I thought we could do better than that. That's why I got involved. Well, I'd like to say something about the very early organizing efforts and how AFT was brought in. I think it was Marie Fatuli who went to AFT and made that first contact. And it has been documented. It's been written up that there were frictions and tensions with the original AFT organizer who came to work with faculty. The article in the Register Guard, that's quite detailed and seems overall really accurate to me, mentions that, and that's true, that there was a lack of understanding. I think the article says a lack of nuanced understanding of faculty and academic culture. It was worse than that. There was one organizer brought in, and then he was joined by another AFT organizer, and I think there were really strong issues of, I would say, sexism and homophobia. In addition to a lack of understanding and a lack of respect for the academic work of university faculty members, particularly the tenure track faculty. But so I found myself in situations where I was one of the people that signed up to go and go with the AFT organizer, meet with individual faculty members, knock on doors, have appointments with people. And the AFT organizer would be mocking of faculty projects. So it really became untenable. The attitude and statements from the organizers were at direct cross purposes to successfully organizing faculty on campus. And I'm not the best person to recount this, but there came a point when the card check drive had not really been launched, and we were getting to the final deadline for doing that. And there was a moment of a kind of brinksmanship where I recall that there was a big meeting, and I hope that this story can get told clearly and with the right amount of detail. But I think that happened. I don't know who made the contact, but we went back to the AAU, which I think was always in some joint effort with AFT having the money and the clout, AAU having the focus on university organizing. And I think that the contact was made with Carrie Nelson at Indiana University, who was then, if I remember right, the president of the AAU and AAUP, and with his help, there was a move to take another look at this organizing situation before it was too late, before it just completely fell apart. And there was a very difficult meeting where those issues were confronted. And as a group, we and the faculty who were working for the union drive said, it cannot work this way. It's being destroyed from within, and we're not going to abandon it. And that's a story that I think should be told, that the faculty really stuck with it to make it possible for the union to come into being. So I hope you get that in detail from other people who remember it more clearly than I do. Right at that point, there was a series I had a series of family crises that withdrew my attention and also have blurred my memory of the period, but others will remember it. There began to be very positive changes, especially for the NTTF, well before the union drive was successful, because the administration was trying to prevent a successful union drive. And in addition to their website of misinformation and their attempts to mislead the faculty about what the effects of a union would be, they began a process of regularizing NTTF positions that, because of the timing, I mean, correlation is not causality, but I strongly believe that it was an attempt to say, we're not so bad. Look, we're already taking care of these things. And there were real positive effects, particularly to some degree for TTF, but for NTTF, well before the union, was finally, whatever the right word is, but initiated, put in place. And so that's a very interesting thing. Don't discount the gains you're getting simply by threatening to engage in collective bargaining. And since then, I mean, there's been an enormous amount of work to regularize the NTTF positions, and following the enormous amount of work getting the CBA in place, then an enormous amount of work to align the nature of these positions, particularly with the tremendously irregular body of NTTF positions. And it's made real gains. It's meant real financial gains with salary and so forth, benefits, which is important. It's made really important changes in department culture. For instance, in my department in Romance Languages, which has a large number of NTTF, in the integration of NTTF into department decision making and simply department conversations. And I know, actually, I see even reflected in my students as they come through my classes, that's improving the quality of our department relations and of our teaching. So I see it having a very thorough ecological effect. When the faculty teaching our language classes are in communication and coordinating with our faculty teaching our literature and culture classes, the consistency for students becomes much stronger. And we're able to not only respond to cuts and in funding and the effects of some undermining decisions from the administration, but even while those things are happening, we're able to build programs like our terrific program for Spanish for heritage learners, which has come out of this close collegial working between non-tenure track faculty and tenure track faculty. So I see all kinds of benefits, and when, members of the faculty are on food stamps and not able to get health care for their kids, then the financial improvements are really important for the quality of the experience of work and for what we're able to give the students. The changes to culture are really important. In the future, I want to see UA survive and thrive. There's a threat from, the political incursions against public unions. The Friedrichsen case is up right now. I want to see United Academics continue strong in this linking of the common welfare of tenure track faculty and non-tenure track faculty. Obviously, I would say that as a member of the non-tenure track faculty. But also I say that because in the nature of my teaching, at the particular level and the particular classes that I teach in the department I'm in, I see students moving from lower division classes into the upper division, and I see these really strong positive changes in what our students are bringing to the classes. I see this coherence to our program. I attribute that to many things, including this stronger communication within the department, both inclusion of non-tenure track faculty in faculty meetings, which previously was capricious. It was left up to department heads. So there were reigns, there were periods in which non-tenure track faculty were going to faculty meetings. Then we weren't going to faculty meetings. Then some of us were going to faculty meetings. And we didn't know if we belonged to the faculty meetings, so we wouldn't go. That is demoralizing and ridiculous and undignified and really counterproductive to our teaching missions. I do a lot of the work of tenure track faculty as non-tenure track faculty because of my own particular position. So I'm now a senior lecturer So I'm on both email lists, non-tenure track and tenure track, and I see the differences that this has made. It's been so positive. I hope that CAS, as directed from above, will not roll out the threatened imminent firings of large numbers of non-tenure track faculty, because it's absurdly counter to the goals of improving and strengthening the graduate programs, and maintaining and improving and making more visible the high levels of tenure track research and publication, for instance, in my field and in my department. Because the non-tenure track faculty are professionally really well formed in my department in the teaching of language and incorporating teaching of cultural production into the teaching of language. They have expertise in that area that the tenure track faculty do not have. The tenure track faculty have other expertise, and those are complementary. And we have worked really hard, and United Academics has helped us. The articulation of the CBA has strengthened the move to articulate how we move our students through these different phases of education, from the focus on language acquisition into the use of the language to study nuances of culture and cultural production. The statements recently that indicate that tenure track faculty would be put into language classrooms or in the English department, that tenure track faculty would be assigned to teach composition classes, which are very work intensive, not their area of expertise or training or preparation, and make impossible maintenance of a research agenda, are just absurd, and again really work against the mission of the university, the goals of the university. So these are all ways that the union stands to help, and I hope the union stands strong with its vision of a united academics at all our different levels, and I hope it can grow. I hope that right now we're successful in increasing the membership, and can enjoy some improved security, can increase, for the good of the university, the faculty role in governance of the university and important decision making, and really keep for Oregonian students as well as others a strong flagship university across the disciplines that they can be proud of and take part in. That's my hope.